Hello, good evening. Thank you guys for joining me. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Let me open up the chat room. Hi, everybody. Hello, hello. Let me know if you can hear me by pushing one in the chat. And I'm going to assume that you guys can hear me, so I'll go ahead and get started. So as I told you guys on the last live stream, um, I am revamping my old Chrissy online website. The new URL is femstrategy.com. And I am removing all of the current videos from my website except for the Vetting Men series. That will stay up a little bit longer. And yes, for those of you asking, will it be gone forever? Yes, it will. I'm just starting on a clean slate, not, removing anything because I don't agree with the content anymore. I still 100% agree with all of the content, just moving on to a new chapter. Okay. And yesterday was going to be the last day for purchase. But a few of you reached out asking if I could leave the videos up through Friday, which is tomorrow, because that is when some of you guys get paid. So per your request, I am making the videos on my website available through September 13th, which is tomorrow, this Friday. After that, they will be removed, and only the people who purchase their videos on or before that will be able to view them and access them, and they will have lifetime access. No, I will not be bringing them back. I will not be putting them on Patreon. Once they're gone, they're gone. And also, the coupon for members and patrons will be good through September 13th. So you can either go to femstrategy.com or Chrissy Online to get the videos. And if you've already made a purchase, you can use your same login information. And I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has already made a purchase. I appreciate all of your support. And stay tuned for the new content on the site coming soon, and the new content on my second channel, Fem Strategy. The links are all in the description box, the link to the new channel or the second channel, and also femstrategy.com. And if you have any questions, let me know. And yes, this video will be staying up. So now let's move on to the topic. So today I want to do somewhat of a follow-up to the stream I did last week about Ice Spice and Cleotrapa. I'm not going to get into, I'm not going to discuss those two women. If you want to hear my opinion on that, go back to the last live stream. But I specifically want to discuss how Black women, and especially unambiguous dark-skinned Black women, can win by not following the crowd. And in this instance, what I mean by not following the crowd is dark-skinned Black women not trying to appeal only to the Black community, not trying to fit ourselves in one box, not following Black community groupthink, or following the rules of Black culture and Black society, and not doing whatever it is the Black community expects of Black women or demands of Black women. And this can look like many different things. It can look like fighting on the front lines against racism, white supremacy, or becoming a social justice warrior for Black men in the Black community and fighting against your interests as a Black woman. We've talked about that for years on this channel. This could look like refusing to explore your options and dating Black men only because the Black community conditioned you to be race loyal. It could be what I talked about in the last live stream, where Black women latch on to mixed race women and live vicariously through them in hopes of getting trickle down light skin or mixed race privilege. It could be coddling, defending, or aligning yourself with colorist men and women because you fear being called a hater by Black people or by mixed with Black people. Because it's coming from them too. Y'all are scared of them too. Okay. It could look like following the crowd. In this instance, conforming to everything or most of what the black community expects of you as a black woman, and especially an unambiguous dark-skinned black woman. So that is what I mean by following the crowd. And if you notice, when black women refuse to do what the community expects of us, and we refuse to place ourselves in that black box, and we broaden our horizons, that is when we tend to flourish the most. And we don't even have to become whitewashed or deny our blackness to broaden our horizons and step outside of the box. We don't have to, become a quote unquote coon. We don't have to do any of that. And there are several examples of what I'm talking about. Lupita is a great example of this. Lupita, she has been known to fight against racism or take a stand against racism and colorism. She's been very vocal about colorism, but she's also very diverse in her acting career, and she appeals to different demographics. She's also dated different races of men. Now, her choices in men are questionable, but that's another conversation. My point is, though, that she doesn't seem to be boxing herself in professionally or romantically. Right? Yeah, Sankofa says, yes, especially with our style and personal aesthetic. Yeah, we're going to get there in a minute. Yeah, there's a lot about black women that stands out. And instead of leaning into that, we're running away from that, thinking that it'll be more advantageous to do so. And sometimes it will, but a lot of times it won't. So you're right about the aesthetic part, Sankofa, 100%. But Lupita, I use her as an example because she is just, she's very fluid when it comes to her professional choices and her romantic choices. And she still, can talk about racism, colorism, and still do whatever she wants. She still doesn't box herself in. So I think she's a great example. The same applies to women like Nina Simone and Tracy Chapman. And I think I have a picture of her here. Yeah. Nina Simone, the iconic, legendary Nina Simone. But Nina Simone, Tracy Chapman, they both sang about systemic racism. They both sang about black issues. But they still appeal to listeners across different races, different backgrounds. Tracy Chapman especially, she explored a different, well, I won't say a different genre of music, but just a genre of music that appealed to various demographics of people. And it clearly worked in her favor because she made history as the first black woman to win a country music award. And there were some black people and black women specifically who were upset about that. They were like, oh, well, why did she have to win it through a white man? And why did she give her song to a white man? That was actually very strategic of her. Not only did she get all the money and the royalties from that song being, played over and over and over again on air and becoming popular again, but she also won an award for it. An award that she probably wasn't even looking for and didn't even care about, but she still won it. You know what I'm saying? And people everywhere love Tracy Chapman, including me. Right? And when it comes to Tracy and Nina, neither one of them are race loyal romantically either. They dated men and women of different races. They didn't just limit their options to black people, right? And this also applies to women like Tina Turner and to some extent Whitney Houston, even though Whitney, she fell off with Bobby Brown, let's just be honest. But, in the early part of her career, Whitney was very fluid, very multicultural. She did The Bodyguard, with that white man, Kevin Costner. She was very open to different things. And I talked a little bit about this in my fluid strategy video that I did for Neptunian members and patrons. So definitely make sure you check that out if you haven't already. But this is what I'm talking about, y'all. Just remaining fluid and able to just go in and out, flow through different demographics, different communities, different opportunities. And you don't have to lose sight of your blackness when you do that at all. Not even a little bit. You think these women don't know that they're black? Like, come on. And another example, oh yeah, here's Nina and her white man. You know, I think she was with a black man and a white man at one point in time. She was just all over the place. And so another example is Naomi Campbell. Now, obviously, Naomi became a world renowned supermodel because she's beautiful, right? That's undeniable. But the way that Naomi was able to adapt to various fashion trends and kill the runway, and her willingness to work with the top designers of different cultures, that openness helped her to gain international appeal. So again, Naomi is another one that did not limit herself. And Naomi, you know, she has a reputation, okay? Naomi is known for being extremely competitive, right? Extremely competitive. Naomi wasn't trying to latch on to mixed women for trickle down privilege, baby. She was creating her own privilege. She wasn't worried about anybody but herself, okay? And she does have the reputation of being a mean girl, which is why I think now in her later years, you know, she's kind of learned to play nice. But Naomi, she never was afraid to stand alone and play to win and play to stay on top. Naomi Campbell didn't give a shit and still doesn't. Let's just be honest. She didn't give a shit about being a nice girl. And so I wanted to, after the last live stream, I wanted to come back and give examples to show you what I'm talking about. Okay? Yeah, I love that for Naomi too. And we know that Naomi kept her a white man, honey. That, I think white men are Naomi's preference, okay? She definitely did not limit her romantic options to black men. And again, I mean, we can argue that it was, you know, for, I guess, damage control or to just be a well-rounded celebrity. But she also, you know, was very, I won't say she was very pro-black or anything, but I'll say this. She has fought for different black causes, right? She's also talked a little bit about colorism as well. So contrary to popular belief, Naomi is not whitewashed. She's not out of touch with her blackness. She's just multicultural, and she doesn't limit herself to only working with or dating one demographic of people. That's all. So yeah, I mean, Naomi is a big example of what I'm talking about when I say do not limit yourself as a black woman. Pat McGrath is another example of a black woman who used diversity and multiculturalism to reach the top. Now, obviously, again, we don't want to minimize these women's talents. The reason why Pat is a world-renowned makeup artist is because she's talented and she's innovative, right? But she also didn't limit herself to one demographic professionally. She collaborates mostly with top luxury designers. That is her lane. She ain't going anywhere below that, okay? And what I love about Pat is that she moves in silence. We only see her when she's working. That's the only time we see Pat. Do y'all see Pat anytime when she's working or accepting an award? That's the only time we see her. She's not super political. She's not extra vocal about social issues. And because she's so quiet, we don't expect that of her. We don't expect her to take a stance on politics. Nobody's asking Pat McGrath, oh, who are you voting for? Nobody cares because Pat McGrath does not make a habit of talking about politics. You get what I'm saying? Glitterfi says, but Chrissy, black women being involved in pro-black discussions, or even if she's fluid, does not work for everyday black women, only celebrities. Just my opinion. In my opinion, everyday black women shouldn't work with the black community. I did not say that. And you can choose whatever you want to choose a la carte, meaning if you want to mention colorism or, something that specifically benefits black women, you can do that every now and then, or you don't have to. If it doesn't benefit you, you don't have to. My point is, you don't do it to the point to where people know you for that. Like, that's your identity. Like, oh my God, that's the girl that talks about this or talks about that. That's why you'll never see me coming online, showing my face, always talking about colorism. That's why you won't see me doing that. But I do understand what you're saying, though. I do get it. It's all about the way you do things. Yeah, I love me some Pat McGrath. And I just feel like there's freedom in not having to speak up or be vocal about every single political issue as a public figure, especially as a black woman, because they always expect you to say something and they always expect you to fight for somebody. So if you don't want that to be expected of you, just don't be that kind of black woman. And so what we can learn from all of the women I just mentioned, they all embrace diversity, right? And they all embrace diversity and multiculturalism. They didn't limit themselves to just the black community. Most of them, they may, dibbled and dabbled a little bit in black politics, but they didn't make that their entire identity, right? They didn't latch on to black men or the black community or light-skinned women for relevancy. They're not sitting there coddling them or sucking up to them, trying to look like special snowflakes to them. They didn't do none of that. And they have been very successful. They didn't limit their options, their romantic options, to black men only. And also, looking at Lupita right now, they leaned into their natural beauty. They didn't wear an aesthetic that looked too forced, right? They succeeded by not following the crowd. They used what was different about them to stand out. And look, this is not to say that you have to do these things to be successful as a black woman or dark-skinned woman. There are plenty of successful black women who haven't done what these women have done, and they're successful. But I noticed that the dark-skinned women, the unambiguous dark-skinned women who have done one or more of the things that I mentioned, have more international success, and they seem to have more freedom and less mental anguish. You don't see any of the women I mentioned having meltdowns like Taraji P. Henson or Monique or Amanda Seales or most recently Cleotrapa. Have you noticed that the black women who have limited themselves to appealing to or servicing the black community are usually the black women who are always in fight mode and always in struggle mode and always somewhere having meltdowns, talking about all my life I had to fight, always crying about being blackballed or not getting work or not having money? That's not a coincidence, y'all. So ask yourself, do you want to be more like a Naomi Campbell or a Tracy Chapman that's just kind of breezing through and, enjoying life? Maybe not perfect, but just, flowing in and out, having fun. Pat McGrath, saying, popping up when they want to, going back to hiding when they don't want to be seen. Or do you want to be somewhere like Amanda Seales crying about not being accepted by black people? Or Taraji Henson, always, caping for black men, but somewhere crying about not being paid enough by the black men that she works for. You need to ask yourself, which one do you want to be? Let these women be a lesson. Don't follow the crowd and don't limit yourself to just the black community. There was one girl under my last live stream, and she said something about Cleotrapa and other dark-skinned women, quote unquote, biting the hand that feeds us. And see, this is the mentality a lot of black women, especially dark-skinned black women, have. But be clear, ICE was not the quote-unquote hand that fed Cleo. Mixed women in general are not the hand that feeds dark-skinned women. Whether they be artists, celebrities, whatever. If they were, we wouldn't still be having discussions about colorism, y'all. I mean, think about what you're saying. Like, you're like, oh, don't bite the hand that feeds you. What are they feeding us? What are we, like, I don't understand. Technically, who is feeding dark-skinned women when we become successful is, one, the support of other black women who look like us, and also white men, because they own everything. Mixed women and black men are the middlemen, if you want to get technical about it. So if you are a black woman looking to succeed professionally and move up in class and level up, it is best to try and skip the middleman if at all possible. And I know that's going to get me in trouble. Somebody's going to be real mad that I just said that. But it's the truth. The people that you are clinging to, black women, and you're trying to impress and trying to get to accept you, they're the middlemen. The best that you're going to get are crumbs from them. Diana Ross, that's another one. I'm trying to stick to, like, you know, unambiguous dark-skinned black women. But yeah, Diana Ross, that's another example, a good example. Yep, Oprah, that's a good example too. Oprah, let me tell you something. On Oprah, sometimes, you know, she'll be dibbling dabbling into that pro-black stuff, but at the end of the day, Oprah, she is still very individualist, and she's still, like, gonna do her own thing. Amethyst Flower says you're always in trouble, Chrissy. I am. I'm always getting canceled. But, you know, that lets me know I'm doing something right. Because black women like this, like I'm mentioning now, who go against the status quo and who don't follow the rules, we're always in trouble. We're always in trouble. Because we're doing things that actually benefit us as black women. And we're not servicing everyone else. But yeah, stop trying to appease the middleman. And go straight to the top. Curate your professional and personal brand in a way that appeals to all demographics of people. Network and collaborate with various demographics of people. And don't just focus on black people and rely solely on their support. That is how black women, and especially unambiguous dark-skinned women, win in this society. Because as an unambiguous dark-skinned black woman, we not only face racism outside of the black community, but we also have to face sexism, misogynoir, colorism, texturism, featureism within the black community. We also have to deal with people trying to sabotage us, like we discussed in the last live stream, other women trying to sabotage us. So when you're a demographic of women who's in that situation, you have to move differently, okay? You have to pluck out and pull all of your allies from everywhere and use them strategically to your advantage. You can't rely on one single place to get your bag. You can't rely on one single demographic to get your bag or achieve your success. It has to come from multiple sources. And even if it doesn't have to, it should. More resources and support from different people means more success for you. I mean, look at just anybody from any demographic. Like, the more demographics they serve, the more neutral they are, the more success they usually have. So you should be as fluid and diverse as possible to reach maximum success in life as a black woman, in my opinion. And it's not even an opinion, it's fact. And the reason why I have to tell black women this, because you're so stuck on trying to please just black people. And that's why you're stuck in this state of mental anguish. You need to free yourself, ladies. All of this kowtowing to the black community and black men and mixed women that I'm seeing black women doing, it's not going to get y'all anywhere. And I'm not telling you to kowtow to white people either, or non-black people either. Just make alliances with people who are actually going to benefit you and not just give you a pat on the head for your services. And I'm saying this because I'm noticing an uptick of online insecure, unambiguous dark-skinned women approximating themselves to mixed women, living vicariously through them. I saw one video from a dark-skinned black woman, y'all. It was so embarrassing. She was basically telling other dark-skinned women to stop hating on mixed women and hyper focus on our 10 to 15% European admixture. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not making this up. And she said we should focus on that so that we can benefit from being mixed too. That is the delusion that's going on in these online streets, y'all. Yeah. And I'm sorry, but that's as insecure and inferiority complex having as it gets. And it's not going to work, black women. Not if you don't actually look mixed. That's not going to work. And putting that kind of shit on the internet looks way more self-hating than discussing colorism or quote unquote hating on mixed women. And see, those type of dark skinned women, they can't tell me nothing, to be honest, because they have the lowest self-esteem than anybody. They're just in denial about it. But, you know, as long as the colorists are giving them cookies and a pat on the head, they're content in their denial and their delusion. And I'm going to need y'all to stop being delusional. And that woman, she also says something along the lines of, she says something like dark-skinned women who speak on colorism are not, quote-unquote, carefree and leveled up. Baby, if you have a channel centered around colorism and centered around black women embracing their 10% admixture, European admixture, you're not carefree, babe. You care a lot. You care a lot. You care more than anybody. You're not unbothered. You don't look unbothered. You don't look carefree. You don't look like any of those things. And so it's like, who are y'all trying to prove? Again, you're trying to prove something to the community that don't like you anyway, that can't benefit you anyway. You're trying to prove something to the middleman that can't even get you anywhere like that. Do you see how stupid you look? And as far as the leveled up thing, look, I talk about colorism, I acknowledge colorism, and I'm still leveled up. The two aren't mutually exclusive. And that reminds me of something else I saw under my Ice Spice video. There was a woman who, she said something about, well, how can you complain about colorism while also claiming that other women can be jealous of you and compete with dark-skinned women? You can experience colorism and also have other women compete with you or be jealous of you. Those things are not mutually exclusive either. And anyone who is a nuanced thinker, they know that. And I thought all of y'all had pretty privilege. Like, isn't that the whole big thing now? The popular conversation online now, everybody has pretty privilege. I thought everybody was talking about the downsides of pretty privilege and how it's not all rainbows and sunshine. So why is colorism and pretty privilege mutually exclusive? I've experienced both, and I'm sure many of you listening have as well. And y'all can say what you want, but you ain't never heard me come up on here and complain about being ugly. You never heard me come up on here and say that, ever. So I'm not sure why this is hard to understand. Being an attractive dark-skinned woman and experiencing colorism at the same time is not new or uncommon. That's where the whole "you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl" comes from. That is the epitome of experiencing both colorism and pretty privilege, and it's common. So I'm not sure why y'all are even falling for that particular gaslighting tactic. Yeah, I don't get it. Lanny, that's a good point. The people who whine about pretty privilege rarely have it either. That is so true. That is so true. Because that's another thing they try to throw at us. Oh, well, pretty dark skinned women don't complain about colorism. We could say the same thing about women with pretty privilege. Most women who actually have pretty privilege aren't complaining about it online. They're just enjoying their pretty privilege. So that talking point goes both ways. And, don't get me wrong. I actually, I can understand some of the pretty privileged content. I don't have anything against it. But, I don't know. It's kind of cringy to me. I'll just be honest. Like, I don't know. Like, I would say with me, you know your privileges by what you get complimented on the most, right? For me, I get complimented on my body type and my hair, right? So I'm not going to come online and be like, oh my God, it sucks so bad because I have long hair and a big booty. Oh my God, I'm so stressed out. Like, no, girl. It's a little bit cringy to me. I'm not going to lie. But I think that women should have a space to discuss whatever they want to discuss. I'll say that. It's just a little cringy. It just comes across as kind of vapid and cringy. But I also understand. And it's like the other side of that, when people come on here and complain about not having pretty privilege and they complain about being ugly, that's cringy too. It's so self-deprecating. It's like, oh my God, like, why are you on here on the internet calling yourself ugly? Oh my God, like, I don't know. I can't relate to either side of the coin. However, again, I think that women should have the space to talk about what they want to talk about online. I'm just going to leave it at that, okay? But, my point is, most women who actually have pretty privilege, they ain't complaining about it, okay? I'm not going to sit up here and complain about my privileges. I'm not going to sit up here and complain about having, more money than the average person. I mean, there are downsides that come with that, but I'm not going to complain about it because there's more positives than negatives. So, I don't know. That's like white people complaining about being white. I mean, come on. No, I'm not about to do that. But yeah, when y'all say, well, pretty women don't complain about colorism, hey, that goes both ways. And a lot of y'all dark-skinned women, you're getting these weak, illogical talking points from colorist people, and you're repeating them. And you're getting these talking points from women who are competing with you because the colorism conversation makes them uncomfortable. And they're telling you that saying anything about colorism as an unambiguous dark-skinned woman makes you ugly or insecure, or it means you have an inferiority complex. And because you are actually a dark-skinned woman who is insecure with an inferiority complex, you believe that nonsense. Confident dark-skinned women, let me let y'all in on something. Confident dark-skinned women, those of us who are actually confident, we can discuss colorism and not fear being called jealous, bitter, and ugly by colorists. You know how many times I've been called ugly on here? I know I'm not fucking ugly. My everyday experience shows me that I'm not ugly. Those insults don't penetrate. They don't penetrate. So dark-skinned women who are actually confident, we don't care about what colorist people think. And we choose not to discuss colorism if we choose not to discuss it and appear neutral or unbothered by it. We do it strategically if we want, as I do in my everyday life. It's because we don't want to mess up our bag, not because we fear being called jealous, ugly, and bitter. You get what I'm saying? It's more for strategic purposes. But it's never because we fear being insulted by colorists. So y'all need to get some self-esteem. And I mean really get some. Because most of the shit y'all think is high self-esteem, like begging and sucking up to people who don't even like you, that's not high self-esteem. That's stupidity. You look pathetic and it's embarrassing. I had to tell this to a couple of women who were under my last video defending Ice Spice. One woman, she defended Ice allegedly calling Cleo black, and she compared it to black women calling ourselves chocolate. And she was like, oh, well, Chrissy, you're projecting your insecurity. And I'm sorry, but that is a bad comparison. Me calling myself black or dark skinned and a colorist using black as an insult or a pejorative is not the same thing. And just because I recognize the insult and call it what it is or don't accept it, that doesn't mean I'm insecure or have an inferiority complex. And by that same logic, then I guess what? It's okay for a white person to call you blackie or something. Is that okay to y'all for a white person to call you blackie just because you call yourself black or you call yourself dark skin? So let me get this straight. In order for me to be a confident dark skinned black woman, I have to allow a white person to use a racial slur against me. Do you see how idiotic that sounds? So when a white person at your job calls you the N-word, you're just supposed to respond with, yeah, I'm an N-word and I'm black and beautiful. And if you don't respond that way and you instead go to HR or whatever the most appropriate course of action is, if you don't do that, that makes you insecure. Does that even make any kind of sense to y'all? Princess Lioness says, I saw a channel equate Chloe and Storm to Azealia Banks in terms of being outspoken and burning bridges. They said they should keep it classy. What? Burning what bridge with Ice Spice? Again, Ice is not the mouth that feeds Cleo. Or Ice is not the hand that feeds Cleo. So what are y'all talking about? Like, I don't, it doesn't make sense. But, they want you to accept these colorist insults from these. They just want you to accept the colorism. That's all this is. Look, I called a colorist light skinned woman a ghetto Beyonce Barbie, and I got dragged by light skinned women online. So, do they have an inferiority complex about their skin tone for being offended by that? Don't they always complain about light skin insults and pejoratives being thrown at light skinned women? Why are non-dark skinned women the only group of people allowed to be offended by skin tone insults by people who don't like them? Y'all, the talking points are weak. And you got to stop letting these colorists use reverse psychology on you and confuse you and try to trick you into tolerating colorist insults from people who don't like you. You know when someone is using a term as a pejorative or a term of endearment. You know the difference. You're not stupid. So you got to recognize the game that's being played on you. They're trying to neutralize you into tolerating insults. And they're telling you that if you don't, you're insecure. So ladies, stop being afraid of being called insecure. Stop giving terms like that so much power, and you have to stop giving the community so much power, because you get further by doing the opposite of what they tell you to do anyway. Yeah, they got mad at that. So, yeah, that brings me to the next topic that I want to discuss. Men of means and natural hair. So, I want to say this was about maybe a week ago. Y'all know I'm late on all these topics, right? This was probably about a week ago. Um, the topic of attracting men of means with natural hair resurfaced. And once again, there was this whole debate about whether or not black women have to wear wigs and straight hair to attract men of means. And for those of you who have been here for a while, you know that I already addressed this years ago in this video. So definitely make sure you check it out if you haven't already. But this falls in line with the theme of today's video, because once again, I feel like black women are following the crowd instead of leaning into what makes you stand out. Now, I just want to clarify something. I am not stupid. I understand that I don't just understand, but I agree, okay, that straight hair is more widely accepted. I agree that straight hair is considered more attractive and elegant universally by all races of people. Because of racism and texturism, people generally respond better to straight hair, right? However, it's also possible that people respond better to your straight hair because you've learned how to do it better than you do your natural hair, okay? And I don't think this is talked about enough, ladies. Some of this really boils down to many of y'all just not knowing how to do your natural hair. And instead of saying that you can't attract this and you can't attract that with your natural hair, just say you don't know how to do it. And again, I know that's going to trigger some of y'all, but some of y'all just don't know how to do your hair. Just say that. Say you know how to lay a wig better than you know how to do your natural hair. Just say that. Okay? Because this is a very nuanced conversation, right? And saying that men of means don't like natural hair is too much of a generalized statement, okay? And I'm about to trigger y'all, but black women, you've been wearing straight wigs. So why aren't most of y'all attracting rich men with your straight wigs and your lace fronts and your bust downs? Why aren't most black women married hypergamously if all it takes is to wear a straight wig? Why are we still dating and marrying down collectively? Answer the question quickly. For those of you who don't agree with me, answer. But that lets you know that your ability to attract high earning men is about way more than having straight wigs. It's more so about the total package, y'all. And this goes for wearing natural hair to an interview in an upscale environment, etc., etc. It's more so about what your entire aesthetic is giving. Okay? If you're an attractive, well put together black woman who knows how to look elegant in any hairstyle, you can attract men of means no matter how you wear your hair, just because you know how to make it look good and you know how to make it look appropriate for the occasion. In my experience, this is just me, okay? Long hair of any texture trumps straight hair, in my opinion. Long hair that looks good on an average to fit body weight, that trumps straight hair and wigs when attracting high value men. And I always get in trouble for saying that, but it's true. So nobody wants to tell y'all the truth. These same level up gurus, they'll tell you, oh, you need a straight wig or whatever. Notice how if they're fat, they're not telling you that you'll probably have more success being smaller, attracting high earning men. They skip over whatever applies to them. Have you noticed that? It's like, okay, but what about fat women? What about that? What about being an average weight? What about that part? Why are you skipping over? That's very important. To me, in my opinion, that's more important than the straight hair when you talk about attracting high earning men. And it's interesting that this conversation is resurfacing at the same time the pretty privilege conversation is popular, because any woman who benefits from pretty privilege and especially has a nice body, you know that how you wear your hair is irrelevant because you're going to get the attention no matter what hairstyle you wear. I mean, I thought all y'all had pretty privilege now. Why you can't attract high earning men with your natural hair, Miss Pretty Privilege? It's not adding up. Y'all ain't asking the right questions. And I'm going to be completely honest with you, ladies. The women who need straight hair to attract high earning men, they're usually lacking in some other area of their appearance. And this is why I wanted to talk about this, because I feel like women aren't going to be honest about this. You know, most women aren't going to be honest to other women about this. The women who need straight hair to attract high earning men, these are usually the women who can barely manage to even get their wigs, their straight wigs, and simple makeup to look good. So honestly, yeah, they have to wear a straight wig to look somewhat decent in the eyes of most men and most people. And I know what I'm saying is harsh, but I'm just being honest. Somebody needs to be honest in this conversation, because I promise you, it's not just the natural hair that's stopping you from meeting high earning men. You know how people say, "Oh, well, it's not colorism. It's not your dark skin. It's your weight. It's your bad wig. It's your badly built body." Literally the same thing applies here. Sometimes it's not the straight hair by itself that's attracting more men. It's that the women in the straight hair, they know how to perfect their overall look better in straight hair. And they've learned how to make their they haven't learned how to make their natural hair look good yet. Or they haven't learned how to look elegant in natural hair. And I noticed that some of these women giving this advice, let's just be honest, y'all, they don't know how to dress like that. They don't know how to look elegant no matter what they wear or how they wear their hair. They online looking tacky, telling you that you have to wear a straight wig. They're projecting. It's because they have to do it. So yeah, for them, they're going to look more put together in a straight wig because it's easier for them. So it's important that you're not internalizing these things and you realize that it's going to take way more than what they're saying. I'm talking about who it applies to. I'm just saying, if I'm listening to somebody giving me level up advice and they're telling me that I can't attract a certain men with natural hair and they're looking tacky with their hair and their makeup and their appearance, I can't take it seriously. And ladies, the key to making your hair look elegant and appropriate is to not overdo it. Opt for styles that, are very cutesy, very mindful, very demure. The ones I'm showing on the screen. Opt for these kind of styles if you're worried about not looking appropriate in your natural hair. Yeah, less is more. And ladies, keep in mind that only you, as a unambiguous dark-skinned woman, only you are going to know what hairstyle works best for you in terms of attracting men. There are several unambiguous dark-skinned women with believable hairstyles, whether they be weave or not, that are married hypergamously and they're getting the bag. I saw a black woman, during this whole conversation, I saw her bringing up Meghan Markle. And she was like, "Oh, well, Meghan Markle would have never met Harry if her hair was curly." But Meghan is not an unambiguous dark-skinned woman. So why is she being used as an example for an unambiguous dark-skinned woman? The same thing doesn't apply to you. And I'm telling you from experience, if a non-black man likes black women and he's attracted to unambiguous dark-skinned black women, it ain't gonna make no difference how your hair is, whether it's straight or natural. They don't care. As long as it looks good, they don't care. And so, ladies, I recommend that you actually try wearing your natural hair or natural looking extensions that look good and see your results, as opposed to listening to someone who does not have your hair tell you that you can't attract something with your natural hair. You are going to know what you can attract with your natural hair more than they will, especially if you know how to look good. I just feel like this is just not as deep as what y'all are making it. It's even when it comes to getting a job, I've gotten several jobs with my natural hair, y'all. It all depends on how you do it and how you make it look. That's all that matters. Truly, that's all that matters. And I also agree with everyone who said that, older black women and mixed women who are old school, they're not going to give you the advice that works for you now. They're going to give you the advice that worked best for them back in the day. And I'll go a couple steps further and say that they really haven't learned to do their natural hair or natural looking weave. And they just know how to make straight hair look the best. Many younger generations of black women, as you can see in these photos, we just don't have that problem. So we need to factor in the age difference and the difference in generations as well, and the change of times in this conversation. I don't think the upcoming generation of black woman naturals, they're not going to have an issue, being successful with natural hair because one, they've been taught to have, a lot of them anyway, not all, but a lot of them have been taught to have confidence with their natural hair. And two, many of them will know how to manage their natural hair because they've been learning from a very young age. And so they're going to know how to make it look good, way better than the older generations have made their hair look. Many of them will have long hair, long natural hair, which we know is more appealing to most people. And I know that's not politically correct to say, but it's the truth. They're just not going to have the same problems. And we now, even a lot of the Gen Z and the millennials like myself, we don't have that problem. Sunshine says, not gonna lie, Chrissy, the difference in type of men are drastically different when I have my natural out versus a wig. How do you wear your natural hair? And what do you wear it with? Because I notice, I'm not, I'm not saying this about you personally, but I notice when women say that, when they be like, oh, I only attract dusties with my natural hair, it's because you look dusty with your natural hair. Like, and I'm not trying to be mean when I say that, but that's usually the reason. I don't attract dusties with my natural hair. I don't. Because I look expensive with my natural hair. So it's like, I mean, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't know. This is not my experience. And I'm not going to lie to you. When I was a little baby natural and I didn't know what I was doing with my hair, yeah, I would attract hotep niggas. But that's why, because I didn't know what I was doing. Oh, Sunshine says the wig attracts the dusties, Chrissy. Okay. So you saying the wigs attract the dusties. Yeah, because I'll be honest with you. When I was wearing wigs, or not wigs, but back in my day, it was tracks. I was wearing weave before, the lace fronts and stuff came along. So when I was wearing, the tracks and stuff, I would get hit on by like the ghetto dudes. Rose says if you dusty, it don't matter what you doing, you're gonna attract dust, right? And also, again, the length matters as well. Like I noticed that when my hair started to grow out, I just got more attention altogether. So, but ladies, the point is, natural hair is what makes you stand out from the crowd, and in a good way if it looks good and it fits the occasion. And so try making it look good first and making it work with your overall aesthetic. And then you talk about whether or not it works. And that goes for everything else black people are telling you that you can't do as a black woman. Before you say that my concept about being more diverse and practicing multiculturalism doesn't work, try it first. Before you say that non-black men don't like black women, date one first, and more than one. Don't just take that one experience of that white boy fetishizing you and be like, oh, they don't like us just because you chose bad. Most of y'all saying this and that doesn't work, you never even tried it. Oh, men can't be vetted just because you don't know how to vet men. Try actually vetting one first. And then you'll find that it actually works. And see, the problem is a lot of you are following the crowd instead of going out and experiencing life on your own. That is the problem. Yeah. Phoenix says yes, because my natural hair is long. People always enamored by it. Yeah, it's a statement piece. Like um it's always a conversation piece. People love natural hair that looks good. They love it. Yeah, receipt, men can't be vetted. You probably just can't vet them. They can absolutely be vetted. And you know the type of women who say men can't be vetted? The women who become third and fourth and fifth baby mamas. Those are the women who are somewhere talking about, and men can't be vetted. Girl, I can't. I can't take y'all serious. I can't take y'all seriously. And so go out, you guys. Experience things on your own. Try some new things. Mingle with different people and and find out on your own whether or not something does not work. Please just try it yourself first. And you're going to miss sometimes. You're going to fail sometimes. Sometimes it will be very awkward. I'll tell y'all a story and then I'll go, but I'll tell y'all a quick story. Okay, y'all know that viral Dubai chocolate bar that's all over TikTok and everybody's like buying it or whatever. Well, I had been wanting to try it, right? And so I looked up places in my city that had the viral Dubai chocolate bar. And it came down to two places. It was this one coffee shop. It was a Yemen coffee shop, okay? Middle Eastern coffee shop. And then the other place was like this Mediterranean restaurant and grocery store. And so one day I was like, okay, well, I'm going out here. I want to go to IKEA, and the coffee place is right here. The other place is 10 minutes from that place. So I'm going to stop by this coffee shop to see if I can get this chocolate bar, right? So went to IKEA, and then I went to the coffee shop, right? And in my mind, like, okay, I'm one of those people. First of all, I'm a very curious person. I always find myself in either strange places or just different places with different groups of people. I always find myself in those type of situations. I don't know if it's my Gemini rising or what. And I wanted this chocolate bar, honey. My big back ass, I wanted the chocolate bar. I wanted the chocolate. Okay. And so I went in this coffee place, and for some reason, even though I knew it was a Yemen coffee shop, I didn't expect to see a bunch of Muslim people. So this was it was a little quaint, small coffee place. And I walked through the first set of double glass doors, right? And immediately I was like, oh, here we go. Because I locked eyes with this Arab man. He was just staring in my face. He just would not lay his eyes off of me. And then immediately I was like, okay, this is going to be uncomfortable. But I was like, whatever, I'm here now. I got to see it through. So I walked through the second set of double doors, and immediately to my right, it is I would say, if I had to guess, it was probably like 30 people. All of the women, all of the people there are Muslim, okay? All of the women, they have on their hijabs. They're covered from head to toe. And everything kind of just went silent, and they're staring at me. All 30 of these, I'm not exaggerating. All 30 of these people were staring at me. I just want you to imagine what I look like in this place, okay? Black girl, dark skin, big booty. Okay, and I'm not slim thick, baby. I'm ghetto. I got a ghetto booty, okay? I got a ghetto booty, okay? I had on this knee-length skirt, this denim skirt, tight skirt that I got from Old Navy. I had on some Hermes slides, the cognac ones, okay? I had on this big-ass Michael Kors tote. I had on Gucci shades. And my hair, it was like maybe a 4-day-old wash and go. So it was kind of poofy. So this big, poofy, long, natural hair, obnoxious booty, designer clothes. I'm walking in this Yemen coffee shop looking very conspicuous compared to these other people in the shop, compared to these Muslim Arab people in the shop. So yeah, I stand out like a sore thumb. And so I'm like, okay, everybody's staring at me. And I'm in line. I'm like, okay, let me just wait. And there's this guy in front of me. He's a white guy. Baby, when I tell you this man was fumbling over his order, he could not get his order right. The little Arab man was trying to help him out. They took forever. So I'm just, time is just passing and I cannot wait to get out of there. I felt so awkward. And so finally, it's my turn to go. The white man, he orders his drink and he finally gets the fuck out the way. And then the Arab guy at the cashier desk, he was like, hold on just a minute. I need to go back here. And so I had to stand there and wait again while these people were literally staring a hole in my back. Okay. And so he comes back and he's like, can I help you? And I'm like, yeah, hi. Do you have the viral Dubai chocolate bar that's popular on TikTok? And he was like, hold on, let me see. We might have it. And so he looks, he's like, oh, I don't think we have it. He's like, hold on, let me go to the back and see if they have any back there. So I had to stand and wait again. And so he finally comes back and he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We're out. And so finally, I'm so ready to go within my, like, I'm just like, oh my God, I can't wait to get out of here. And so I was like, oh, okay, thank you. He was like, well, wait, do you want, we have the Kanafe cheesecake. It's just like the chocolate bar, but it's with cheesecake. I was like, oh, no, I'm fine. Thank you so much. And he was like, well, do you want some coffee? I was like, no, I'm perfectly okay. I said, thank you so much. I'll come back. And so I was finally able to get out of there. And as I turn and walk away, they're just staring at me, still staring at me. They watched me walk out until I got out the coffee shop. Okay? So that is an example of a very, very awkward experience with another demographic of people. Now, I told you that there was a second place that I went to. And I had to go to find this chocolate bar because at this point, I'm like, I really want to find this chocolate bar, right? And I'm already out here. So I'm going to go to the second place. Now, imagine if I would have let that first experience deter me from going to the second place. I didn't, y'all. I said, okay, well, I'm just going to go to this second place. I'm just going to risk being in another awkward situation and see if I can find this chocolate bar, right? Girl, yeah, baby, they were staring at me. And you know, it's always the men. Anytime you're in like a situation like that, where it's another group of people, it's usually the men that stare the most. I told you about the guy when I first walked in. He immediately locked eyes with me. He would not stop staring. It was just so uncomfortable. So awkward. But anyway, so I went to this other place. And it was a Mediterranean restaurant where they sold like gyros and, you know, Mediterranean food. And so I went and they had a restaurant on one side and a grocery store on the other side. And so I went in the grocery store entrance and immediately I saw the cashier. He was Arab. And I was like, well, do you guys have I said, hi, how are you? Do you have the viral Dubai chocolate bar? And he was like, yeah, it's back there. And he points to the back. And immediately it was way more comfortable. Like I was the only black person in the store too, but it was a little bit more variety. It was like white people there too. I want to say I saw an Asian person, like like maybe Japanese or something like that. And a lot of white people in this store. And so I went and I got 2 chocolate bars. First of all, those motherfuckers were $9.99 a piece. Okay. I got 2, one for me, one for my guy friend, cause he wanted to try it. And they had a different variety. It was like white chocolate. And so I got a third one so we could split it. So I got 3 total. And when I got up there, guess what? The guy was so nice that he gave me a chocolate bar for free. He only charged me $20. And he was really sweet. And he gave me his card and he gave me some type of other coupon. And he was like, enjoy and come back to see us. Right? So two different places, right? Completely out of place, different demographic of people, different race of people, two totally different experiences. Now, I could have taken that first experience and said, oh, this group of people doesn't like black people. And we know that collectively they don't. They don't fuck with niggas. They don't. We know that, right? But I could have taken that first experience and said, oh, I'm never going to put myself in that situation again. It was so uncomfortable. I'm never going to go back. I'm never going to try to do this thing again. And I would have never experienced the second time. I would have never experienced the second place that actually went well. And I got free chocolate. And I met a nice person. And I'll probably will go back to that place. So that is what I mean by you have to experience things on your own. You can't go by other people's experiences. You have to go out and explore on your own. And you have to do it more than once. And you cannot be afraid of failure. Oh, Fiction Wonder says, was it good? Girl, and after all that, it wasn't even that good. I forgot to say that part. The chocolate was okay. Okay, here's the thing. I don't live in Dubai. Obviously, I can't get the original. I can't get the the real one from, what is it? Fix It Dessert or something like that. So, it's a generic one, but you couldn't even taste the pistachio. You couldn't even taste it. It kind of, to give you an idea of what it tastes like, it kind of tastes like peanut butter and chocolate. Like, I was expecting a really strong pistachio flavor, but it wasn't that at all. It had a nice little crunch to it, but it wasn't all that. Yeah, Joel says TikTok always hyping up something trash. My guy friend, he liked it. But I just, it wasn't all that to me. And the white chocolate one really wasn't all that. And I usually like white chocolate, but that one really wasn't that good. So, yeah, Amethyst Flower says, great point, Chrissy. From my experience, if you're pleasant, people are usually nice. Yeah. And it wasn't even that the guy, it wasn't even that the guy at the first coffee shop, like, he was actually nice. The guy that worked there, it was the other people there that were just staring at me. And they just made it awkward. I mean, and let's be honest, a lot of them won't say it, but they find a lot of them find black women to be attractive. Especially the men of other communities, they won't say it. They want to put their women on a pedestal. They're very tribal, but they're staring at you because you're attractive. And so I got to keep that in mind too. It's like they're not always staring at you because you're ugly or because they're racist. A lot of times they're admiring the way that you look, especially the men. So, yeah, Reese said Mexicans act like that too. The Mexican guys will hit on you though. I've been hit on by more Mexican men than any Middle Eastern men. So, but yeah, it was the other people. It was the what is it? Yemeni people, Yemeni people, Yemenian girl. I'm so sorry if we have anybody from Yemen in the chat, but it was the other people in the coffee shop that made it awkward. I mean, they were looking at me like they had never seen a black person before. And you will go through experiences like that when you are expanding your horizons and when you are being diverse and being multicultural. You will have those kind of experiences. And some of them will be bad, some of them will be good. But you can't let the bad experiences stop you from doing it again and mingling with other people. Yeah, Amethyst Flower says Mexican men are not shy at all. No, they're not. Oh, okay, it's Yemeni. Okay, Yemeni people. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they'll compliment you. Yeah, they will. It's always, if you notice, like with other demographics of people, the men are usually more friendly than the women. And we know why that is. We already know why that is. So yeah, I just want black women to stop following the crowd, stop listening to people tell you what you can't do, and stop listening to people tell you what your experiences are going to be, and just go out there and learn it for yourself. And you have to just push through the awkwardness. Listen, I think with me, I'm an introverted person, so it's very easy for me to be awkward in situations like that. Like if I would have gone to that coffee shop with someone else, like I don't know why, but I don't know if it's an introverted attracts extroverted thing, but like most of the people that I'm in community with are extroverts. My mom is an extrovert. But well, I would say I don't know. I didn't. One of the guys I'm dating, I know he's like an ENFP, ENTP, or whatever. I'm an INTJ. I don't know what the other guy I'm dating. I don't know what his Myers Briggs type is. But I know if I would have went in there with one of my guy friends, the Aries I was telling you about, he would have been so fucking loud, so bold. He would have probably just been staring at the people right back. Like he's one of those people who don't give a fuck. He loves when people are staring at him. He takes it as a compliment, and I do too, but it still makes me feel awkward. And so I know if I was in there with him, I would have felt a little bit more comfortable. So it is sometimes, if you want to try new things like that and you're not used to getting out of your comfort zone, go with somebody else. Go with a person who is a little bit more extroverted and a little bit more bolder than you, and who normally doesn't care about things like that. They'll make you feel a little bit more comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like even if I would have gone in there with my mom, she wouldn't have cared either. She that wouldn't have made her feel any type of way than people staring at her. That's definitely a me thing. Like if you're introverted, and I think with me though, like even though I'm very introverted, my curiosity is stronger than my introversion, if that makes sense. So even though I'm very introverted and very awkward and very, self-conscious sometimes, if I'm curious about something, I'm going to go explore anyway, and I'm just going to push through it. And that's why I think somebody like me is the perfect person to help y'all out when it comes to stuff like this, because I understand how uncomfortable it can be. But you have to push through it. You just have to push through, girl, and you got to see it through. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I'm very curious and I'm a wanderer. Girl, I'm like Dora the Explorer. Even when I'm in another city, like if I want to go see something, I'm gonna go see it. I don't care who's there. You know, I try to do my research or whatever to make sure I'm not gonna end up at the wrong place at the wrong time. But, you know, I'm gonna push through because I want to have certain experiences. Yeah, Sun says you got to be strong. You do. And I will say too, going with other people is cool and all, but you want to eventually also get comfortable going to certain places by yourself as well. Because you tend, especially if you're looking for a man, because you tend to get more attention from men when you're by yourself. So, yeah, it is hard. It's hard, but you can do it. You can do it. So, yeah, black women, don't be afraid to stand out. Don't be afraid to go against the crowd, go against the grain. Because I promise you, that is the secret sauce. That is how you level up as a black woman. You got to get out your comfort zone, ladies. And so I hope you learned something here. And I hope you enjoyed my little story time. I know y'all like my story times. And that's a true story. If you know where I live, you can look it up. You can look up what I'm talking about. You can find those places on Google. And if you go to the coffee shop, don't say I didn't warn you. Okay? Don't say I didn't warn you. If you are a black woman and you walk in there, people gonna stare you down, honey. They gonna stare you down. Just look up Yemen coffee shop. But anyway, this was fun. Um, I do want to come back and talk about some other things um, that I have been seeing in the media. I won't get into it, but I'll come back and I'll talk to you guys about it. So again, tomorrow is the last day for you to purchase on femstrategy.com. It's the last day for the sale for Lunarian and Neptunian members and patrons. Once I remove everything from that site, it is gone. If you purchase before tomorrow or on tomorrow, you will have lifetime access. But after that, we're done and we're moving on to other things. I will be posting on my second channel soon, have new content over there. And I'm taking my own advice, y'all. I am, as far as like, you know, being multicultural and diverse, I already do that in my personal life. But I want to do that more online and explore other genres on YouTube and do other things. And if I fail at it, then I just fail and I'll try something else. That's just the way I think. And I just need to start taking my own advice as far as, you know, kind of not limiting myself just to talking about black topics and race topics and color topics and do other things. So that's what's going to be on the second channel. None of this race stuff, none of this color stuff. It's going to be something totally different. Totally different. So stay tuned for that. Get the videos while they here because they about to be gone. So I love you guys. Thank you for joining me. And I will catch up with you in the next one. Bye.